Hi guys, I hope you're doing well. I'm feeling very compelled to make this video. I've sort of just I have a very short period of time to do it as well because my son is home and there's some things in this that I don't really want him to hear. But this is like it's all kind of really fresh, so I feel like it's important to talk about it right now. Um, so it has a lot to do with accountability, the accountability that all of us have in life, whether that's things that we say, things that we do, as well as recognizing like what we have in life, and that many of us have certain things in our lives that were not necessarily gained fairly or honestly throughout history. So I think the reason I'm tying this into sort of like the spiritual practice and your spiritual journey is that I'm finding more and more, like I'll get messages from people and usually it's something that they want to, let's call it constructive criticism, which is fine. But the problem that I find with a lot of it is a lot of times people will tell me, Spirit guided me to tell you this. And I'm just getting to the point where I'm thinking, well, why don't you just tell me this? Why don't you just own up to the fact that you feel this way and you have this perspective and you want to tell me that? I'm finding like more and more Spirit is guiding me to tell you this. Spirit wants me to tell you this. Spirit wants you to know this. Okay, as a channeler, yes, that does happen. Everybody does that, can do that. But at the end of the day, we have to remember that we all have free choice. And even when I'm channeling, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't come out of my mouth. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't come out. And because I'm making an active choice, making an active choice about my own morals and my own beliefs, as well as protecting myself too. Because there are times where messages come out. There's been sometimes they've been very sexual messages, and I've had a couple people send me emails and say, why didn't you like express what you were holding back? And I was like, well, because I also have to consider myself. So anyone that channels a message to has to be accountable for what they channel, because they're given the free right to just openly let it out. You don't have to. And there's a lot of tarot readers that won't do lives also. And I totally respect them for that, because you lose the option if the channeling gets ahead of you and something comes out and you're thinking, you know what, I'm not really sure I understand the principles of that or where I want that to go right now. You can at least edit that in a pre-recorded video. So I also have the choice to do that. So I would never say that I am not accountable for what comes out of my mouth. And yeah, Spirit is often guiding me, but I'm doing this, I'm co-creating with Spirit, and all of you are too. And I just find that when we use the excuse that Spirit guided me to tell you this, particularly if it's criticism, and criticism is fine, especially if you're doing it in hopes to help the other person improve on something. But the minute you say that Spirit guided me to tell me this, it really, to me, it sounds like, if you've done something bad and your plea in court is, well, the devil made me do it, so I'm not really accountable. And it's really no different than a little kid in the schoolyard, like walking up to someone else and saying, Johnny told me to tell you that you're fat and ugly. That's not from me, that's from Johnny. Okay, so that bothers me, where I'm seeing more and more of that in the spiritual community, where Spirit guided me to tell you this all. It's coming out of your mouth, so you need to be accountable for it too. And if it's in written words, you also need to be accountable for it. I do really feel like, for the most part of my life, anything that I've said or written, I'm accountable for it. It's my feelings and emotions at the time. If I'm channeling, I'm making a conscious acceptance to allow that to come out. So I wanted to put that out there. And I hope that more and more of us can say that less and less to people, particularly for anything, even if it's a compliment. I want to hear it from you. I don't want to hear it from Spirit. I want to know that it's coming from you. So there's that. Okay, and then there's the next topic, which has stirred up a little bit of a hornet's nest. Not a huge one, but enough that I'm quite aware of it. And it has a lot to do with the masculine and the feminine and the male and the female that was talked about in the recent message from the Dark Lady. So here's the thing, because I am getting like some men that are saying, you know what, that's not fair because it's not men, it's an energy. So I have a problem with that as a woman who's lived in a man's world, because I would say it was the first time. So first I'm going to say that I am very fortunate. I've never been like molested or anything like that. And again, this is why I'm in a room with the door closed and my son is doing a conference call with a friend downstairs. And I know he's got until around noon. So this is my opportunity to talk about this. But many women have, and that wasn't an energy. That was mostly a man, usually a man. There's the odd time that women do that, but it's pretty rare. And I think the first time an adult man exposed himself to me, I would have been 4. I would have been 4 years old. And I was playing the apartment building where I grew up in. Like, this is in the 70s too. So it would have been like around 1976. So it was very normal for kids just to go out and play. And so I would, and in the apartment building that I lived in, outside, there was a big parking lot, and there was also a big play area and a play structure, and there was even an in-ground swimming pool. I think it's long been like cemented over now, but I was outside playing with some friends. I think we're all sort of ages like 4, 5, and 6. And it was like, oh, it's lunchtime, we better go. I don't know how we knew that. I think it's just an instinct. We're hungry, we need to go find food and go back to the den. So going back, and a man called me and one of my other friends over, and he was sitting in his car. So we walked, and he said, oh, I have something to tell you, something I need to show you. And then he was completely naked from the waist down, and he was erect. It was, I mean, as a little girl, it was really freaked me out, and it made me very uncomfortable and almost like nauseous. And then there was another time, I think I was about 13 or 14. It was a very similar incident. I was walking down the street to go home, and a man had pulled over and said, I need directions somewhere. So I walked closer to the car, and again, totally exposed. And so these are not energies. So that's the problem that women have with this shit. That's a man utilizing an energy in a very bad way, but it's still a man. And if you want to not be accountable for what your race, your sex, your creed does, and not say, it's not right, and I want to be there for all of you that are being subjected to this, and say that it's wrong, and stand up with you, because it needs to be changed. Like, that's the reason that women are speaking out about this. This is the reason that minority groups are speaking out about this. And even like gay and lesbian men have contacted me and said, like, this is really helpful because a lot of like white heterosexual men have been really cruel to me all my life. So, and it's not to say that cruelty is naturally within them. It's just a culture that's been developed. So yes, it's energy, but it's energy being utilized by human beings. We have to be accountable for ourselves. And out of all of the women on the planet, I'm not going to be stupid and say that my life is harder than anyone else's. Honestly, out of all the women on the planet, because I am white, I probably have the easiest trip out of all women. I know it, and I am not naive about that. And I find incredible strength and incredible beauty in women from all sorts of different cultures, because I know that they're going through things even harder than I am. And I have so much respect for them about that. So I don't understand how, even as a man, that you can't have respect for people that are trying to make something right for themselves and others in similar situations. And it doesn't stop. I get dick pics emailed to me. I do. I'd be really curious to know how many men out there that do what I do are getting vagina or boob pics sent to them. And that in itself is a really sad thing. I've never talked about it before because I didn't want to draw attention to it, but it's all part of this subject that this never really stops for women. So don't tell us it's just energy. That's really insulting And it's not true, because every single man, every single person, male, female, non-binary, and I know Ori, who I really love a lot, in the comments during the premiere of that video, got a little bit triggered because I did make a specific note about male and female. But this is why, like, because this is happening. It's not just energy, guys. It's people. And you can't hide behind spirit told me to tell you this. You have to be accountable for what you say and what you do. And I myself, like, just thinking about my own heritage, like, my ancestors came here to Canada in the late 1500s. That's a long, long time. And I did my genealogy, and I was thinking, boy, I must have some Indigenous in me. I was like hoping. I have nothing, zero. And it really leaves me like really thinking about everything that I have and what ancestry did I come from? What has my foundation been built on? I didn't personally do anything, and I'm not saying that the men that come to my channel personally did anything, but the Indigenous people have a right to be heard, and I have a duty to listen to them. And women have a right to be heard, and the world has a duty to listen to them. Children, marginalized groups and people, they all have a right to be heard. And by stating that it's just masculine energy, it's not actually men, is a falsehood. It's a factual falsehood, because it is men utilizing that energy. And in my entire life, I'm now over 49 years old. There's at least 4 instances where things like that sort of occurred that were inappropriate. And again, I have to state that I am very lucky, because it's never gone beyond that. But it's always made me very aware to figure someone out quick. But never ever did a woman ever touch me inappropriately or ever expose herself. I mean, I've had nasty women in my life, but never like that. So it's not just energy, guys. And if you want to tell something to somebody and it's constructive criticism or it's a compliment, we're all driven by spirit. I don't think you need to put that in the end. I really think it's important that it comes from you. That's the most important thing here. We have to be genuine with each other. So I'm trying to be genuine as much as possible, and slowly talking about like different things in my life that occur. And so I've talked about this, and it is sad, because also like the men that send me those pics, I just think to myself, like, is that the only value that you see in yourself? Because it's so sad. Like, the penis is, to me, it's a beautiful thing, but it's really only as beautiful as the person that it's attached to. So why would you send me that? Send me a CAT scan of your brain, an MRI of your heart. That would be so much better. And then maybe I'll look at the pic. But I just, and my story is so minor compared to so many women out there. So many. And we have a right to be heard. The gays and the lesbians, they all have a right to be heard about how they've been ostracized and made fun of and mistreated. And it just seems like another way to push it aside or to hide behind, a curtain and say, oh, it's not me saying that. It's, it's just spirit. It's not my group doing that. It's just energy. I don't know. I can't deal with the bullshit anymore. My Gemini rising is rising up. And that's enough. So I wanted to say that. And it's for everybody. And, I encourage you guys, like, if somebody's criticizing you, even if they're telling you something beautiful, Spirit has guided me to say this. Say, that's wonderful. I want to know how much it means to you to say that. Because that's the most important thing to me. That's how I feel anyways. I would encourage you to do that. And I would encourage all of us to recognize that most of us have what we have because of things that have occurred throughout history that were not right, and we're not fair, and we're not just, and we're immoral. And when we build a foundation on that and we don't look at it and at least acknowledge it and say, how can I help you? Because I realize that you've lost your culture and you've lost your language and you've lost a real sense of your community? How can we help you feel like part of the community instead of like making you sound like you're the problem? So that's all I gotta say, I think. I'm gonna clean the house today, so there'll be no videos. I'm gonna do house clean. My mom's coming on Thursday, so she wants to do some shopping because there's some stuff she wants to get for her new place that she can't get where she is. So we're gonna go do girl shopping. So I guess that's a stereotype. But no, guys can be fun to shop with too. Well, no, they're kind of like hunting. Yeah, no. Some guys can be fun to shop with. But that's it. I just wanted to say that, and I think it's real important that we try to keep as much authenticity in the spiritual avenues as possible, because like any other avenue or period of time, it can become false and it can become fake. And those are just two things that are really present for me. It's not just energy, guys. It's how we've all been using it. And we need to be accountable. We really do. So, until next time, be gentle with yourselves. Bye.